All right, Architecture Review Board work session is underway. First project is 18 West Cedar Avenue. Comments from the board?
This proposed addition will be visible from the street, but we don't have a front elevation showing what that will look like. And also there's 3 existing windows on the west elevation that are proposed to be removed and closed off. It really doesn't look like from the plan that there's a compelling reason to do that. So I would those windows are quite visible from the street as well. So I think maintaining those windows would be appropriate. And then adding windows into the new addition on the west side and on the rear second floor so we don't have such large expanses of uninterrupted wall. And then some clarification I think is needed. It says window replacement throughout retrofit, but I would like to know the definition of throughout retrofit so we know exactly which windows are being replaced. And that area under the screen porch and deck needs to be closed off, preferably maybe with lattice panels that match the front porch. And then there's casements that are on the east elevation, and look like they're the only casements on the house. And perhaps if they were to just let those remain as casements, but then just add a horizontal member that mimics the look of the meeting rail, I think it would look more coherent with the rest of the house.
I had a lot of the same comments and then just a suggestion if they wanted to look into maybe adding a window in the toilet room.
Yeah, I have nothing more to add on top of that.
Okay. We will discuss 18 West Cedar Avenue, which is also a public hearing. We have another public hearing, which is 312 Gray Avenue, deck replacement. Comments from the board?
I just wanted to clarify, there's railings that are shown as wood in the details, and then it looks like aluminum railing is also shown. So just wanted to clarify what material that will be constructed out of.
And I'd ask that under the deck is enclosed like the prior project.
Yeah, I think that the deck enclosure underneath would help address some of the issues that I noticed because we have some really nice classical columns that are existing on the side. And right now, the way that the plans are drawn, it looks like there's just nothing but a raw unfinished post below that that's much smaller than the column. And presumably all the hardware and such would be exposed. So I do think that that needs to be addressed. They're tearing out a very nicely detailed deck that's appropriate to the style of the house and going with a more utilitarian look. I think that adding some details that are more in keeping with the style of the house would help, especially on that under deck enclosure.
All right. We will discuss 312 Gray in the regular session. Next, we have 320 Healthstein Avenue, garage renovation. Oh, we're just discussing it amongst us first, and then at 5:30, we'll invite folks up. Comments from the board?
I have no comments.
No comment?
Yeah, I think it looks nice.
I agree. So I recommend we can move 320 Helpenstein to approved as submitted. Next, we have 250 Jefferson Road, new garage. Comments from the board?
No comments.
I had no comments.
No comments?
I didn't have any comments either. So I recommend we move 250 Jefferson Road to approved as submitted, which we can vote on in the regular session. All right, next we have 321 Arbor Lane. And I think Tracy is recusing herself as the architect in this one. And is this the one that we got revised drawings for? I do
Oh.
believe so. David,
I
Tracy
haven't
brought those in.
had a chance yet to look at it.
Yeah, so take your time to take a look.
We have time.
We have time.
My comment, doesn't look like there was much changed initially. My only comment was how is the siding terminated into the stucco? It is set back, which is a nice well, actually on the east elevation, or east plan, the siding is flush with the stucco, so that's a trim concern there. That's all I had though.
Yeah, I'm looking at the rear elevation and there's absolutely no windows on the second floor of the rear on the revised plan. And then also on the right side elevation, that's rather blank on the first level there. There's no windows. There's only one small window on that whole elevation of the new addition. So I think we need to talk about getting some relief to all of this blank siding.
Yeah, it seems appropriate not to have windows in those rooms because of the usage, but you're right. How do you break that up? It doesn't, yeah. Because they're closets primarily.
Yeah, it seems that there would be some way to revise that so
Yeah.
we have a presentable appearance on the exterior. Because you know how it is here in Webster, we all see each other's houses from every direction. So, the people behind them likely are going to be looking out their windows and seeing the rear elevation. So I do think it's important to pay attention to that.
So I'm just comparing the new versus the ones we originally looked at. My comment when I first reviewed it was potentially introducing just a horizontal band board that matched the second floor of the stucco portion of the house. Just to kind of tie them together architecturally a bit. David, I think your comment about, slightly recessing the, siding the walls so that they're flush or slightly inset from the stucco makes sense. But that was my initial comment, and I thought the left side looked fine. I think the left side on the new revision is better
Yes.
Than the original, but I have the same concern about the rear elevation, because originally I thought it looked good, and under the revision, I think it probably could use some articulation of some form in addition to the horizontal. Whether it's windows or some sort of fenestration on the upper level especially. So that would be my comment. And I think that's it for that one. So we can ask Tracy to come back in. Right, and then we have 329 Simmons Avenue, new deck with a roof.
There's no context to the existing structure or home that I saw on the elevations nor the plans.
Yeah, I agree with that. You don't know how that new roof is gonna tie into the existing.
It's hard to compare style as well. Appropriateness.
We really don't have clear photographs of the front and rear elevation in order to see how it would work. The drawings could probably use some more articulation to show the style of the railing that's proposed on the stairs, and then also what the door frame looks like on the rear. And it looks like there's a rather large expanse of exposed earth that's going to be underneath this substantial addition, and I think closing off underneath that deck would be in order. With, just some decorative material that's compatible with the style of the house.
Any additional comments? All right, we can discuss 329 Simmons Avenue. And then at this point, that's it for our project review in the work session, so we'll take break until exactly 5:30 when the official meeting will begin. So everyone stay online and we'll restart then. If you're here in person, we'll resume in person. Thank you. Welcome everyone to the Architectural Review Board formal meeting. We just finished our work session. So the formal meeting is now underway. Introduced to Koa Bell and Jim Bailey with the city. We have Mayor Arnold with us as the council liaison. And Elliot Liebson is also here with the city. Carol Dunkey and Tracy Collins, David Yates and myself, Bob Buckman, all volunteer architects that sit on the board. First item of business is review of meeting minutes from September 18th. And I believe all four of us were present. So with that, may I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the September 18th as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, or I'm sorry, any, meeting minutes are approved as written. We also have some pre-approvals. So I'll ask the board member to read a motion. First one is 320 Helfenstein Avenue. We have a motion.
I move to approve 320 Helfenstein Avenue as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? All right, so if you're here for 320, you're good to go. You've been approved. Next we have, you're welcome. Next we have 250 Jefferson Road. May I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve 250 Jefferson Road as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, 250 Jefferson Road has been approved as submitted. So if you're for that, you're free to go. At this point, The rest of the projects, we'll call the project out. If you're here in person, we'll ask that you come up to the microphone and introduce yourself and we'll discuss your project. If you're on Zoom, raise your Zoom hand and Tacoa will add you to the discussion. First two projects are public hearings. 18 West Cedar Avenue is the first one. So please come on up.
How you doing?
Welcome.
I am the homeowner, Matt Jane. My architect, Mark Williams, was unable to make it, so I will do my best to relay anything.
Okay, great. Thank you. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
Different comments from the board. I think maybe, David, did you have it?
I remember now.
I was gonna say, I know Carol has some. So go ahead, Carol.
One of the things that's really important is your addition will be visible from the street. And we don't have a drawing that shows the view of what that will look like from the street.
Okay,
So in order to properly review the project, we would need to see that.
so drawing with street view.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. And on the west elevation, there's a number of existing windows that are shown to be removed and then closed off. And that is quite visible from the street. And from looking at the plan, it looks like it would be possible to retain those windows. And because we are in a historic district and it is visible from the street, that would be the standard that would need to be followed as
Okay.
far as the design guidelines for the historic district. And then also the area that's underneath your screen porch and deck, right now it's just kind of looks like it's exposed to
Yeah.
view raw.
yeah, it wasn't gonna be like that, but I hear
yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah, so if,
Something to match like the front is, you were thinking?
yeah, I think that
Okay.
would look
Okay.
very nice to just kind of match the enclosure that's on the front.
Sure.
And then a scope of work clarification.
Mhm.
There's a notation that says that the window replacement will be throughout the retrofit.
Mhm.
We would need more specific indication of which windows are planned to be replaced
Okay,
and an indication that they will be replaced, like what the style is, if they're going to be replaced to match existing.
Okay.
Just, so we're sure that about
Sure.
the details of what we're reviewing and approving. Let's see.
I got a couple comments for you.
Okay,
So you're done.
I got a few more on my list. Do you want me to finish up and then we can talk about it? Does that work?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see, let me get back to where we are here. On your new addition, I think we've got some blank siding there that needs to be interrupted. So adding a window on the west and on the rear second floor, I think that would help relieve all of that blank wall. And this is a minor point, but I think it would help make your house look more cohesive, is that we've got a couple of new casement windows on the second floor. And looks like those are the only casements on the house. All the rest are double hungs.
You looking at the east elevation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of times what is done that looks very nice, you can keep those as casements, but then add a railing to the middle, like just a horizontal member.
Mhm.
That's the width of where the double hung meeting rails come together, like on the windows right behind you. So it would basically be just a decorative element and you could
Okay.
still have your casements, but from the street, it would look like a double hung, which would make your house look more cohesive all the way
Gotcha.
around.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's my list. So I don't know if anybody else on the board has comments.
I just had a suggestion. That toilet room is an enclosed room. And I just thought it might be nice to add a little window if you wanted to that room, just so you don't have to flick the light on every time and have some
Sure.
daylight in there, but it's optional. Yeah.
I got a pantry right on the other side of it.
I was talking about the bathroom, the master.
Oh, on the master.
Yeah, that,
On the
a
master,
separate
gotcha.
toilet room. up there.
Just a little bathroom window, you were saying?
I just thought it might be nice just to,
I see, kind of next to the other one.
yeah, otherwise you're kind of going into a dark little room.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my initial comments were most of them in line with what Carol was saying. The windows in the pantry and, kitchen, I think those could be opportunities, you could leave the windows and still have the pantry. You'd have a benefit, on both sides with the natural light, but, the bathroom as well, just something along that, west side, help break that up a bit and just ways to, get some light into your rooms upstairs, I think would be nice on the inside, but this board's really looking at the exterior. I think
Right.
that's really kind of where the comment comes from.
Sure.
Potentially in your closet. So just a way to kind of break up some of that mass. I agree with Carol on that one. And then I know, David, did you have anything additional?
Nothing additional to that. Same comments as they were having,
Right,
or in agreement at least.
right. So I'm not, and then you said you had a few
Sure.
things that you wanted to share.
So if looking at the west elevation, those three lower ones that you see, we had, at least at this point, indicated we were taking our back brick wall off and going to try to fill that in. So the one on the far right that's bricked in, that is currently a fake window that is behind my current kitchen cabinets. So from the outside, it looks like a window, but inside the room, it's behind kitchen cabinets. The bigger one next to it is currently a window that's sort of partially above my sink. But with the way we had tried to plan our kitchen, if you look at the first floor plan, the whole kitchen range and kitchen cabinets are now face against that west facing window or wall. So that's why we were like, well, if the cabinets or the windows are going to be behind the cabinets again, should we just fill them in with brick and try to get them to match the house? That's kind of how we got to that point with those windows. The third one, the smallest one, is currently in a small bathroom that is being turned into a closet. And that's, as you can see on the first floor plan, we're building a new first floor bathroom that's right next to the pantry. So that's kind of how we got to, okay, we've got all these things, windows behind the kitchen cabinets.
Yeah.
What do we do?
I think your window probably ended up kind of behind the cabinets and not visible from the inside, because in the previous work that was done on the house, they were trying to retain that window from the exterior. So I have a suspicion that's how that condition came to be. And then also too, like, with your window that's in the closet, an easy way to do that, we keep the window and you could just put some sort of window treatment over it. So you wouldn't see from the outside the contents of the closet, but then we would still have the look of the window on the exterior. So I do think that, and in your pantry, it's kind of nice when you have a nice walk-in pantry to have some natural light in there, so you don't have to flip on the light every time you go in there. So, that might be an upside of retaining that window.
For the one on the far right that's, like I was saying, currently behind there, you're basically saying we would just kind of leave that one in particular like it is, even though it's behind a cabinet, make it look good from the street view, but still have it covered?
Yeah.
Are you okay if I do that with the second and third one on the first floor as well?
You just,
Make them look good from the outside? Sorry if I'm not.
yeah, no,
No,
that's
no.
fine. No, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding correctly. I mean, it sounds like, yeah,
Right.
the look from the outside,
Mhm.
in the historic district and what we see from the street. Yeah. And if, however you accommodate that on the inside, like with window treatments or whatever,
Okay.
that would be fine.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, or if it's spandrel glass and you
Yeah.
don't ever want to see it, that's fine too. Sometimes there's opportunities though to, make those spaces better if you want to capture some of that glass, right? On the
Sure.
inside, you can design your kitchen around windows, you
Mhm.
know? So,
We added so much light on the east side with windows and big glass doors walking out onto the screen porch that we figured we're going to have enough light coming from the east side that we know we're covering up a little on the west, at least from the inside, but we were okay with that. And then in regards to the west elevation window on the new addition that was currently going to be in the closet, the walk-in closet, you're saying the same thing, just put a small one up there. Look, is that
I mean,
a suggestion or is that?
right, for me, it's something that just needs fenestration or something to help break up the side.
Okay.
So if I remember, your plan has a closet and a bathtub.
Yeah, the west side would be the walk-in closet. So that'd actually be kind of right next to a little laundry area.
Right. I think the plan
There's,
the plan I have shows it's the same as yours.
Yeah.
Shows a tub and, a bathroom and then the closet. So like, for me, if you would consider putting a window in just the bathroom, that would be,
Just in the little toilet room. Got you. Oh, I'm sorry. When I was talking to you earlier, I was talking about the west side. Sorry,
oh,
the
Okay.
west side, this wall being
Yeah.
blank up here.
yeah,
Had you mentioned that one as well?
yeah,
We're talking about, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
full
so
bath.
one in the toilet room. Got you there. Okay. All right, so just to kind of review, leave the three lower windows open, looking like normal windows from the street. Cover the underside of the new deck. Sorry, I don't know, what do you call that?
lattice work or deck
Skirt,
skirt. Yeah.
something, okay. And then window in second floor bathroom east side, and then a window second floor new addition as well. And what would be the master closet
yeah, on the rear.
from the west elevation
Okay.
up here
Something up there.
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
my comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the west side. I don't know if I can do it.
I mean, you're not gonna have hanging in front of that washer and dryer. That's gonna open up.
Right.
So having a window there is not gonna take over any kind of hanging space, so. that might be
Yeah.
Good.
Could probably squeeze that in there.
It's kind of nice to have some natural light near your washer
Yeah.
and dryer too. That would.
I could see that. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and you could look at proportions on your original house on that same facade and just pick one of those,
Mhm.
help them
Kind of
hang
match.
together. Yeah,
Okay.
just a thought.
Okay.
Just as a note for you and your architect, these meetings are on YouTube.
Okay.
So if y'all want to kind of review everything that
Okay.
was said, just kind of as a checklist, that might be helpful.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else I need to make note of?
No.
No, I
Okay.
don't think so. Yeah, if you could make those changes, I think then,
Okay.
we could just postpone a vote.
Okay.
Tonight and, see it the next time and.
How soon do I need to get plans back to be on the next meet?
Early next week.
Early next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as,
Wednesday?
as soon as you can.
Okay.
We have to check with the.
This
city
doesn't seem
planner.
like a lot of big changes, so I think I can probably,
Probably okay, but I'll send out notification tomorrow and I'll check with Prashant Peoples
okay,
and see what's on the agenda already.
okay. That sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Happy to-
Yeah. All right, next we have. I'm looking at an old one here. 312 Gray Avenue, deck replacement. Anyone here for 312? Anyone online?
There we go.
Hello?
Hello, this is Shane. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm the contractor for the project at 312.
Hi, Shane. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you. So I was going to note real quick that there is going to be no demo on this job other than the staircase. Everything stays put, other than just aesthetics. We are rebuilding the two staircases as they are, but everything else structurally is staying put.
So are you maintaining the existing closure that's underneath the deck? It looks like there's some really nice lattice work and such down
That-
there. Are you maintaining that?
I don't know if Mr. Bustler is on here. I believe it's not in my notes, but yeah, we weren't demoing any of that. Everything was to stay other than the flooring and the railing was being upgraded. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that we need clearly expressed on the drawings, especially, in the historic district.
sure.
I'm very glad to hear that the plan is to retain that really nice existing enclosure under the deck, because the way it's shown now on the plans, it looks like you have these really nice classical columns.
Yeah,
And then underneath it, there's a raw post is the way
Yeah.
it's drawn.
yeah, I'm looking at that too. I see that it's not retained in the drawing. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the existing lattice work that's currently on the deck is going to remain. Is that what I'm hearing?
I believe so. I don't think we set that in stone, but I don't have anywhere in my notes that it called to demo that.
Yeah, I think we need to know that for
Yeah.
sure.
I think the homeowner was raising his hand earlier. There he is.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi. Hello, Brett?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, hi. Yes, we're going to retain all of that lattice work that's currently there. It's all cedar. It's in good shape. We're just going to
Perfect.
repaint it.
Cool.
That's great news.
All right, thanks for clarifying. So,
I could-
Tracy, I know you had a question.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm clear. So the railing is going to come off and you're putting in the aluminum rail? Is that right?
That's correct. That's what's proposed.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, some of the drawings show a wood rail, so you just have to update that when it comes to your permit set.
The drawing show.
Yeah,
So the project notes state Westbury aluminum black, and then it's
yeah,
got
that's where I was confused because you've got a D5 sheet that shows a wood.
does it? Let me see here. Oh yeah, that's just for code purposes. That comes out of the IRC.
Okay, yeah, I guess it led me to some confusion, so just wanted to clarify. So we're going
Ye-
Westbury
yeah.
rail.
Yeah, it's black Westbury railing, aluminum.
Okay, thank you. Well, so I think we can make a motion based on those clarifications. But it is a public hearing. Is there anyone else present that wants to make a comment about 312 Gray Avenue? Or online? With that, may I have a motion?
Just the lattice is really the only thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve 312 Gray Avenue with the clarification that the existing lattice below the deck is to remain and that
Yes.
the new railing will be a Westbury aluminum rail system.
Do you need me to? Do I need to submit something that states that the lattice is to stay?
No, I mean, yeah, when you submit your permit drawings, you'll just have to reflect the motion that we're making tonight. So
Sure.
that the building department sees that that was satisfied, so.
No problem.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, Shane and Brett, you are approved as noted. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, next we have 312 Arbor Lane. Tracy is gonna recuse herself.
Good luck.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hey, welcome.
Hi, I'm Catherine Schreiber, owner of 321 Arbor Lane.
Hello.
Welcome, Catherine. All right, so we had a original set of plans, and we had some revisions. And I'm not sure if you heard some of our comments. And had thought about any of those, but if you want to speak to any of those, or we can go through them.
I might need a reminder because I was unfamiliar with the proceedings and I was picking up some details, but not reflecting it on the image.
Okay.
We could walk through it.
Yeah. So I think under the original proposal, the right side elevation
Looking
Had-
at the rear. Right.
the right side elevation
Okay.
had a window on the upper level and the lower level, and the revision just has one on the upper level. Is that correct?
Believe I'm following. Yes. The idea, the recommendation was to take the existing historical wrought iron windows from the second level and pop those forward into the now exterior facing second level. It's not reflected in the drawing. It looks like a big wall of siding.
Yeah, so are you talking about the rear or the
Yeah, the
side?
rear.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just making my way around. So we can start with the rear. The original drawings had three windows at the top floor. And the smaller ones at the bottom floor. The revised one is missing all the windows at the top. So I think that was one of the comments right off the bat was we all sort of felt like the rear elevation had windows and looked pretty nice in the original plan, but now in the new revised plan, they're all gone. And I think there was some concern that's just a lot of blank siding on a second story of a house.
Yeah.
And thought maybe to consider adding some windows back.
Well, it's taking the existing rear wrought iron and popping them forward, which they're unfortunately not part of the drawing that's been presented today. That's
Oh.
what I had envisioned. We haven't reflected it yet.
Okay.
Do they look like the original submittal that we had, like this with the three?
Not three, I only have two.
There's
I
two.
have
So
two
there's two windows.
windows and I
Move to the,
would be willing to pop them forward in.
Oh, I see. You're saying you would do that. You could do that. Okay. Yeah.
So the two that you have, so right now we have three. Are you proposing that the middle one will not be there?
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
so like that.
So the rear elevation will have would have two metal casements on the top level.
Yes,
Okay.
but none on the sides.
Okay, and the sides are in the revised plan, you have one on the right side and two on the left.
And that was in error.
Yeah.
It's just, they got put in the wrong spots.
Okay. So is the plan moving forward for the right side to just have one window? Because that's what it shows.
No, no window on. the
Oh,
right
no window at
side,
all.
and
I
just
see.
Windows on the left side.
I see.
Okay, so on the new addition, there's no windows on the right or left side?
Right.
Okay, this is getting kind of confusing because none of our drawings are showing,
Yeah.
reflecting what you're saying. So it seems to me like, stuff happens, things get changed on the fly and, yeah, I think Bob had some, nice suggestions in order to tie the existing house and the new house, to put the horizontal banding that's shown on the stucco and carry a band around the house. I think that would look very nice and help tie the two together.
Any particular material? Can I
Uh,
work with my contractor to figure out how to make that pop out?
Yeah, I think to me, it's more the proportion
Yeah.
of the band that's on your second floor in the stucco. So, and for you as the homeowner, the suggestion would be something that's low maintenance.
I
Um,
trim board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the trim board that you don't have to worry about replacing
But
and
I-
painting all the
but it
time.
Looks seamless.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think David had mentioned maybe that's along those same lines that just pulling the sidewalls in enough so that that siding is intercepted by the stucco so that it's kind of recessed. I think that'll be cleaner and easier to maintain for you as well moving forward. So,
Not
because it look
completely flush with the, to,
stucco, right, slightly
so they're going to use and
an
take
existing,
the existing. and
yeah.
am I gonna have to move that,
I see, you're using existing foundation, right? Yeah.
an existing structure?
Yeah, you kind of have to go with what you got.
I see.
I get it. Yeah, no, that's an important piece, right?
Mhm.
So it looks like it is recessed on the
It's
left.
a little,
Yeah.
oh, on the left, yes, because, the
But on the right,
right is the
Yeah.
driveway, it's just straight driveway
yeah, I see that now.
right there.
Right,
I
you
don't have
kind of,
windows looking into my bathrooms.
yeah, right now you kind of get what you get on that.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay. So,
So in this plan, we are adding a functional, picture window, sliding or French door solution for fresh air into this master addition on the main level, which currently has, well, a door that I don't use because I'm just me, it's a security concern. And the other windows just taking on some water due to some storms. I really want to start before winter comes, start getting dry and
yeah,
want to, a lot of these changes, the way my interior bathroom is designed is so that I can be a caretaker for my elderly father for home health. And that's kind of why I'm situating the wet rooms the way they are and some of that.
mm-hmm.
Was there any worry or concern with how the A-frame of the pitch of the roof being addition? Is that not
I think that, for me, that looks
okay?
fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess,
Would it be preferable if when I move the existing windows towards the outermost rear, second, to recreate these dormer-like things, like, is that a necessary
I mean, I think that would be nice if you want to, but I don't see it as a requirement.
No,
I mean, yeah, that would be strictly a if you want to kind of thing.
right. Agree. I mean, your house has a lot of character to it in the stucco and that the way that roof pops up on the north side on the existing facade is kind of nice, but if you wanted to do that, I think it would be a nice little detail, but yeah, I agree with Carol, not a requirement.
Learning from what you are observing.
Um, yeah, it seems like the two windows on the upper sound good. I don't know if you're open to adding the trim board.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I agree. I would like for it to look as, that's one of the
yeah,
constraints with my I purchased it with this sunroom slash, it already had plans approved for a second story bath, but I didn't like the design.
yeah,
However, I want when inside the home even to experience that there's a tie-in with the home, not just this, bloop, here's the extra back. It's real, the way the decor and my finishings and how I'm gonna put beams into the way you enter the space. Cause I have a hardwood, just original exposed beams everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really great.
It
Nice
sounds
design.
nice. It sounds really nice.
I even refused to remove the radiators, the original radiators, even though they're big and clunky, they're so
Yeah.
efficient.
They're not,
Workhorses.
yes. It's nice, a nice way to heat a house. I guess for me, just getting some of these things clarified on a drawing would be important.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think we've talked through a lot and we've accomplished a lot. I think because of the amount of kind of back and forth we had, I think it would serve your project well if we get all of your decisions on the drawing. So we can all be clear going forward what's being agreed to. And I really do feel like on your addition on the sides, we do need to have some relief, some windows or some architectural elements. So it's not just blank walls on the sides of your addition.
Okay. I don't think we have the dimension measurement, but it's not a very deep space. I'm just saying, but yes, I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, some,
Not like.
right. I think the house it has all these, really nice, unique proportions on the windows on all four sides originally. There's some smaller windows on the sun porch that's there now. So, just thinking about the spaces, this board is looking at the exterior of the house, but we're architects, so we can't help to think about the inside. But yeah, thinking about a small window that's, in the upper bathroom closets, might, add a lot of character to that space, bring some east light in, in the morning. And so the proportion of those windows could be drawn from, another proportion on the house. It doesn't have to be a big window. It could be something smaller, just to kind of help break up the facade. That's kind of it, because your house, it has a lot of character, and it just seems like all of a sudden these two tall walls have, it's just siding. So,
Yeah. It's-
um,
the window openings on your existing house have a really nice rhythm to it. And then it's going along great. And then it just kind of stops on that new addition. So like Bob was saying, the windows don't have to be large. And, you're free to put obscure glass in there, so those would be some options for you.
yeah, in the bathrooms,
Yeah.
those old houses had obscure glass anyway in the windows in the bathroom, so you could put new windows in with obscure glass.
Is there a vote on, did you vote on functionality? Can it be light allowing, like a rectangle allowing light in but non-functioning?
I guess for this board, it's more just about what we're seeing on the exterior.
Mhm.
And I think the suggestion is if it was a smaller window, it could just be in a proportion that matched the other window side, proportions, not necessarily the size, right? So it could be a smaller window that's similar in proportion to the
And
rest of the windows.
it can be a fixed window. It doesn't have to be a window that operates. If you wanted something that was just fixed, that would be fine. I mean,
Placement, it might look silly because I'm putting the toilet in this corner.
Yeah.
And so it's a closet to its own. And then-
I mean, it could be something centered on those bathrooms that's up a little bit higher
Mhm.
and it's a smaller window. So, you have the visual privacy, just something to think about. So if you had that on the upper levels and that trim board, I think when you get to the lower level, maybe if you don't have an opportunity for anything on the east side, but maybe you could add something on the west side. I think to me that would be fine. I think it's just,
The west side is the bad.
yeah,
I need it to be a wet room.
yeah. And that's one where, again, if you had a small window up high above the toilet or something, that'd help bring a light in there. But just, it's something to consider. I guess what we're just giving you suggestions. And I think that's why maybe if you wanted to review it with your architect and make a decision on those things and then have them shown correctly how you want to have them as well on the drawings, we could delay a vote. We don't have to vote tonight. We could just suggest that and then and you could talk to your architect, get some revisions and then just resubmit them.
If we don't, are you gonna vote no?
Well, I think they're just, so these are what we're kind of laying out tonight, David,
Yeah. I
we
mean-
all have different thoughts on this.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, I'd like to see more windows in there. Just to break it up to break up the elevation somewhat so that it's not just these large blank pieces of siding, and it would do service to your house to have that, because the house has got great character to it, and bringing that band across there and that'd be very helpful. Especially the back elevation, just having those two windows up high is really helpful.
Well, that part I agree.
Yeah.
No brainer.
Yeah, and those rooms, it'd be nice to have the bathroom have some daylight versus just a closet. It's always nice to, or if you have a closet there that has a window in it, then you can, oh, this is what color my shirt really is outside versus, So anyway. And then, as Bob said earlier, this meeting's on YouTube, so you can review with your architect and let us know. Let's talk again.
So there's another session, I'll be slated in for next week.
All right, so if you would want to make the revisions, and I think, Jim, you just said be on the next round, you have to have them in.
For October 16th, if get the revisions into the office by early next week.
All right.
But part of I'm gonna be replacing the roof and having larger gutter, bigger collector, whatever those things are called,
Dr. Head. yeah.
feed into the gutters. So you're gonna be adding some decorative enhancement to the overall which now are just dinky, you know, everything's kind of aging. And
Mhm.
I'm trying to preserve
Yeah,
without the added expense of a lot of windows and all this, but, but I want functional windows and I know where placement wise I'll benefit lighting. Sorry, daylight versus interior lighting with dimmer switches and things, cause I won't have enough room for end tables and bedside tape. I don't want anything to be falling. Cause it's a master suite, you should have a hotel experience when you go in here. So that's what, and hotels don't have windows in their bathrooms. So that's what I'm going for, that's part of my decor design.
Mhm.
But I do understand the whole being Webster and wanting to not be ugly.
Yeah, I think it's more just trying to give some articulation to that form that's more like the rest of the character of the neighborhood is really all that we're suggesting. So I think the windows on the back are great. Consider the ones on the side, if you can figure out how to do it, the trim board. If you're putting new downspouts and gutters and scuppers and all that, show all that on the drawings too. It all helps, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Understand the whole piece.
Okay.
That sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We'll bring Tracy back. She took her phone this time. All right, next we have 329 Simmons Avenue,
Yes.
right? It's written 329 here and it's written 239 there.
Okay, sounds good.
So but yes,
I'm the-
239.
I'm the contractor on the job.
God, wrong house.
architect did not make it.
Okay,
I'll relay best I can as well.
okay, great, welcome. David?
Yeah, sure. So the plans and elevations you have, show the deck only, and don't show the context of the existing house with it. So we have some questions about how,
Did you receive I believe we put some pictures of the existing house submitted with everything?
yeah, and they're somewhat helpful, but.
Oh, did it get cut off with the roof there? That one?
Yeah, I mean, it's different pictures.
We really don't see the full front elevation or the full or the full rear elevation. We just have partial views.
Those must have got cut off. I'm sorry
Yeah,
about that.
that's fine. And then also just, I'm assuming the deck is going in on this end right here.
Yes, it's gonna be in the same location as the current one, but the layout, we're gonna demo that one. It's not in very good shape.
No, that's fine. That's fine. And I think we just need to see drawings that show the footprint of the existing house, because, and also just looking at the one side elevation where you have the slope coming up like this,
Yeah,
we can't tell at all how that single shed roof is going to tie into the pitched roof there. So that's,
can I show you what the one photo was supposed to look like real quick?
sure.
Okay, and I can get it to you guys. But that kind of gives you an idea of
Yeah.
what the house looks like.
Yeah, and then our comment was like, how does a shed roof flash into that?
Right.
It would almost make sense.
That's
to
why we need the drawing.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at the plan and it looks like on your site plan that you plan for the outer walls of the new addition to be flush with the side outer walls of the existing house. So in that case, if you put a shed roof all the way across that addition, it's not going to be compatible with that gable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not really constructible because you'll have pieces of shed roof that don't die into the existing house.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that's why it's really important to draw the new addition in the context of the existing house.
Exactly, it's gonna attach.
Right. So, and that way that would help keep away surprises for y'all too.
Exactly.
Yeah, to figure out exactly how that's going to frame in to
Okay.
the existing.
Yeah, as not the designer, I would think that maybe you would go with a pitched roof
Yeah,
and then going back into the same pitched roof, maybe a little bit below it or somehow like that. So.
I think based off of the size of it is why we kind of went against that, but I guess we can make that work. Well, I guess we could do that because there's still gonna be a center post on the deck. So if we swapped it to a gable roof, we could just flip flop that and and connect in the center there. So I guess that would work. I can talk to the architect about that.
Yeah.
And the homeowner was flexible either way. They said whatever would work. They just want to get rid of the damaged deck and get something nice on there. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did hear the review part with the lattice. That needs to be added as well. They did want to close that off.
Yeah. And if you could, on the rear elevation, if you could show the style of the proposed door. Right now, it's just kind of a blank.
Okay.
So yeah, if you draw that door in there, I think that would be
The door.
helpful.
Oh, I saw that he put non-structural posts removed for clarity. So if you see where the door is gonna be, he's got two short posts there. Those are actually gonna run all the way up. And we're just gonna put a little header in there to fit a screen door. But he didn't put those posts in, so I can tell him on that page to include that for the door, so you guys.
Yeah.
can see it.
And draw the door in too, if you
Okay,
would. Yeah.
Sure. That's no problem. Okay, so I need to discuss with them if we want to switch to a gable and just go that route.
Yeah,
That would probably be much easier to build.
and more
From my
compatible.
standpoint, so.
Yeah, and more
Yeah.
compatible with the house.
Yeah, okay.
So, okay, so yeah, if you want to make those changes and then resubmit.
Would that get us on, if we get them pretty quickly, will that get us on the next meeting?
Yeah, I think Jim said if they're, go ahead.
As early as you can by next week.
Next week? Okay.
Yeah, early next week.
Yeah, the architect did tell me to get with them right away and whatever changes we need to do, we can jump on, so.
Okay, great,
Good deal.
Great.
awesome.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Good night.
You too.
All right, that is the adjournment of the regular session. We have an executive session on the agenda as well. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That we approved,
We
yeah.
approved.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Hope you enjoyed your
It's-
time.
You're approved.
Yes, thanks. Have a good night. All right. I guess the executive session. This is a little bit, this is a new thing for the ARB. So. Voting on front facing garages, I think is what it says on the agenda. I know we talked about it last time a bit, but. I'm not sure about the formatting of this. I'm not sure how this board is supposed to be.
Definitely a vote.
Yeah, conducting a vote, right?
So what we talked about at a couple other boards is, and the way they do it is you would make a motion to vote on whichever ones you wanted. So let's say you wanted the first, we have the three proposals, the three different proposed code changes. And let's say you wanted just number one, you would say motion to approve the change to X section of the code. And if, there would be a second, presumably, and if there's any final discussion by the board before you wanted to vote, then you do that. If you had any questions for me, and then the chair would call the question and then you would vote.
I'm confused because it was my understanding that we would have a chance to make suggestions
Yes.
rather than just yay or nay, yay or nay, yay or nay.
Well, I mean, that the vote is a suggestion. It's not I mean, and it's not saying this must be, it's simply,
I think, for me, I think in our discussion, we put in some thought into what we felt would be advantageous and beneficial to the city and the reasons why. And I personally would like to see that passed along to the council rather than just yes or no on part one, yes or no on part two, and yes or no on part three.
well, let me clarify that the vote's not going to be presented, the recommendations would not be presented in absence of your commentary. So all the discussion you had the last meeting and any discussion you would have at this meeting would be part of, would say the board voted to recommend X, code suggestion. And the reasoning was based on the following discussion.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, I hoped not to have to be up here. And I'm just going to reiterate what Elliot has said. This is not an and, this is an and, not an or. I think sometimes if all we get is comments, we don't know how the full board felt. We only hear from a few members. So we want both a vote and the comments that you have that might improve the proposal so that we can make the best decision possible. We're hearing from HPC, we're hearing from the Plan Commission. So it is a matter of accumulated information. But if we just got the comments, then we would have a few people who comment who might have disproportionate influence over what we think you think. Is that helpful at all?
And likewise, if we just had the vote to address your very point, then it would just be a vote in space and it wouldn't have any context behind it. So the idea is to have both a recommendation and the discussion behind the recommendation.
Okay. So how is the discussion documented?
All the minutes from the previous discussion and any discussion tonight would be summarized in a report to the council.
In addition, you are free as a member of this board and the HPC to submit something in writing to us directly. You don't have to have any comments as intermediary through any of the rest of us. So if you would like to do that to make sure you're confident that everything has been documented to your liking in the minutes or the report that comes from staff, feel free to do that.
I think we had, even before the new process about board and commission input, we had discussed among the board composing a letter. And we actually had kind of started a draft of that. And then the new boards and commissions procedure came out. So that's we're a little bit betwixt and between.
Why don't you go ahead and take the votes and submit the letter at both? There's no reason not to do that. Is that, Elliot, is that fair? I don't want to.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Because, so there'd be our summary and then your letter. And we would reference it and say, the board has composed a detailed letter explaining their perspective, and then the vote for the recommendation. The more, the better.
Can I go back to the back now?
Thank you, Mayor.
I don't have the items in front of me. I guess you guys.
Yeah, I don't either.
I only have
Make
them
a motion then.
because I kept them,
Yeah.
I kept them with me.
I mean, as far as making a motion, yeah.
Yes.
Please, Jim.
Thank
Thank
you.
Sorry. Or feel like an unprepared student.
I think that, well, we kind of have a new procedure on the fly, and so I think we're all kind of just working with that.
Right, I think, yeah,
It's a new procedure. We're gonna have a lot of this with comp plan implementation. And so we're trying to make sure we cover all the boards that we're gonna want to have input.
I think
But
that's.
we're also trying to do it in a timely fashion, so we're not holding things up.
I understand, and I really greatly appreciate your making an effort to hear what we have to say, because, this is kind of our area of profession expertise, and we really appreciate being heard. So thank you for that. I think,
So we're putting the early draft ordinance, now this has all three on the screen.
yeah.
But as we discussed before, we're breaking them up into three different proposals. So when you see them all on the screen, on the same draft ordinance, that's just an early draft so that we have it on the screen for your review, but it's not intended that they're all in the same as one proposal. So there's 53.203A.
Is there a way to move the picture off the screen so we can,
yeah, because
oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if there's, I'll go through this real quick. There's 53.203A. That was the proposal to eliminate the 40% requirement for front-facing garages. There's 53.203A.3 which we proposing to add a subsection A, which is the requiring the sidewall of a front facade between the garage and the main facade to be architecturally compatible with the rest of the front of the house. And there's the subsection of 53.203A.8. You scroll down, yeah, where that is the second proposal to eliminate the second 40% rule, which would allows you to approve a front-facing garage if it's wider than what is normally allowed, if 40% of the houses on the block have garages that are wider than normal.
Okay.
So 3 proposals. You can vote for recommend 1, 2, 3, or none of the above, or all of the above, or
Right, so for 53.203A, front entry garages, the vote would be whether to strike out front entry garages are permitted if 40% or more of a single family dwelling on both sides of the street have the same, on the same block have the front entry garage. So the vote would be whether to strike that.
I would recommend voting in the affirmative. So say we would recommend proposals A, B, or C, or a selection of those. So if you did not want that one, which it was pretty emphatic, I would not even recommend it. I would say recommend 1 or 2 of the other ones and leave that one out. And in the commentary and in your letter, you can say, we chose not to recommend this first one for the following reasons.
Does anyone on the board think the first one is a good idea
no,
to strike?
No.
No.
No one does? I don't either. Okay. So, there's a technical procedure, right? So
Just make a motion to.
make a motion to not,
or make a motion to accept and everybody votes no, based on what we just said.
Well, again, what I would suggest is if you're going to recommend a motion, an item, I wouldn't even recommend that one at all. And because,
So you don't want to vote on each item? I thought we'd do like each
Yeah,
one
I-
separately.
okay, if you want
I
to do
think
that,
if you want to
then
know how every board member feels on every item, you have to vote on every item, right?
that's a fair point. So then, yeah, just,
Yeah.
so make a recommendation in the affirmative and then you vote yay or nay, because that's typically how motions are going. So you wouldn't say a vote to recommend not approving this one. You'd say a vote to recommend removing section 50.
Yeah, I think that I'm confused because if we're voting on this motion and are what we're seeing in front of us, and we're supposed to be saying yay or nay to removing the 40% rule, I think it would be really important. Just,
Okay, so Mayor suggested, and I think because it's causing some confusion, and I apologize for that. Go ahead and make a motion to reject.
see, to me, that's not an emotion in the affirmative. We're making a motion to reject.
Right.
So I just think that whatever goes forward, it needs to be clear that this is a motion to reject. Because if it's assumed that we make a motion in the positive, that could be construed
Right.
just the opposite of what we intend. So I think, we need to be very clear that none of us are in favor for this. So we're going to make, because I've never been in a meeting where we've been allowed to make a motion to reject. We always have to make the motion
Right.
to
To approve
accept,
as
to approve,
sum-
and then
submitted.
everybody votes no.
Right.
Yeah.
That's,
This does not have to be that formal.
yeah, and we're not trying to make it that formal. We're so used to doing it one way.
And we
And
want to be
these are
clear.
words and we're architects. I personally am a visual person. Yeah,
I talk good.
yeah.
And I apologize for.
So what I was gonna say, we're used to getting like clear information and then making a vote every two week or twice a month up here. So what I'm hearing is I would like to make a motion to recommend approval of the changes under 53.203 is how I would state it, that are presented to us.
Well, if you want to
And
do,
we could vote get the yays versus the nays, and then the nays would be, I guess, the way you would know that who didn't agree.
I would still do them one at a time.
Yeah, I was gonna do them one at a time, for sure. So on changes to 53.203A, as written, may I have a motion to accept the changes proposed?
I move to reject the changes proposed under 53.203A, which removes the requirement.
We're doing it in the affirmative.
Oh,
So,
we could do
yeah.
As it's,
Affirmative and.
it's up to you, because this is not a,
I
like,
thought you didn't like
this-
this. Yeah.
Right,
Yes, no.
right,
Yes. no.
right.
So, so we're making a motion to make it real simple if we're not doing it formal. I'll make a motion to approve the change to remove the 40% rule.
Second.
All in favor?
Nay.
Opposed?
Yeah, that's not right.
Oh, okay.
To accept it, then you.
Well, we move to accept it and then we all vote it down, just
Okay.
like we would on
Okay.
a plan. Yeah.
the only, and I apologize for
Laura?
the only comment I would make is that you should add the code section because there are two 40% rules.
Okay.
Other than that, I think what you proposed is fine.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So, how about this? Where
Sorry.
is the in-flight beverage cart here? Okay. So I make a motion to approve the proposed change to section 53.203, item 3,
Item,
paragraph A, if a garage projects in front of or is set back from a primary elevation, the site, nope, sorry, that's not it.
No, it's
It's it's the first one, I'm sorry. Let me, gosh, this is crazy. Okay, let's try it one more time. Take
We'll get there.
53. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve section 53.203, item A.
Second,
All in favor? Opposed?
opposed.
Opposed.
Okay, so that's one.
Now that we've got it.
Now we have the system. Sorry, Mayor.
wait, no, just kidding.
We're architects.
Just kidding.
Okay, so next one, we have 53.203.A.3 elevation.
I make a motion to approve the revision to section 53.203.3.A regarding architectural compatibility of garages and front elevations.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, we have one more.
That'll be subsection 8. Yeah, right there.
And the revision that you're proposing is we take that out.
Yes,
So ARB would not have the ability to approve that.
correct.
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the revision to section 53.203.8.8 to remove the ability of the ARB to approve designs that exceed size limits noted.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right,
Congratulations, you had your first vote.
we made it through.
And then as far as our rationale for these, then we would include that in our letter, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, just sometime in the next week or two, if that's reasonable enough time,
Yep.
we'll put it
Sounds good.
together with the notes from the summary from the minutes and assemble that to council.
Yeah. Great. All right, is there another thing? I believe
Yeah. The EVs?
there's a mention of other business, electrical vehicle charging station discussion.
Yes, could we get okay, so moving on in the same, with this process, the next item that we are proposing and bringing to the various boards is possible regulation of electric vehicle charging. And we're bringing that up. This is a conversation that's come up in council, and it's come up internally, and we want to see if there's an interest and direction in putting some sort of proposal for formal amendment to the code. So if we could get the next slide. This was brought to the city council on July 15th, and it was brought to I think Historic Preservation. And they had several comments, and so we're, as we indicated in our memo, bringing it to you're the next board to see it. Some of the questions that and comments that the council gave on July 15th, they wanted to know what Ameren's involvement, if any, in permitting EV charging stations is. And just as an aside, I'll just jump give a teaser, they don't have any. What they asked about safety and permitting issues, and in the comment that we should think about both of them simultaneously as opposed to having separate codes addressing each. They would like to see EV-ready requirements in code changes done right away, and I will explain that in my presentation, what that means. They asked about how many EV-related fires there have been in Webster Groves, because fire safety is something that was brought up in the conversation. And the question was asked, do we approve standalone ordinances regarding EVs and EV charging, or incorporate the regulations as part of a comprehensive code change where, after we do the comp plan, the next step is typically review and revise the whole zoning code. The thought is, do we bring this in as part of that or do it separately? Next slide. So key topics for this tonight, overview of national trends, key criterion for establishing electrical vehicle code, the challenges therein, steps to consider in permitting and zoning, there's a couple of examples in other communities, and possible next steps. And then I'd be happy to take your questions. Next slide. So some updates and details. This was, as I said, had a preliminary conversation, and then they had some questions, and this is a follow-up. There are 3 different types of chargers, level 1, 2, and 3. Level 1 chargers take, overnight to charge, and they cost, including construction and labor, about $3,000. Level 3 chargers can charge a vehicle almost entirely in 30 minutes, and between construction and labor can cost up to and over $100,000. Something to think about. The fire department mentioned that they've had no EV charger related fires to date, but they have had some lithium ion battery fires, cars, and I think internal batteries in the building. There is a Missouri revised statute that prohibits EV charging mandates by a community for any parking lot owned and leased to any church or nonprofit organization. They did try to expand that this past year to any commercial structure or residential structure with more than 30 parking spaces. That was voted down. And this was the ordinance, that state statute that got passed instead. But I bring it up to let you know that that is out there in the state. And while it was voted down, that doesn't mean it won't necessarily come back. So as you have your conversations and thought process, you need full disclosure, you need to have that in mind, that that's what's going on at the state level. Next slide. Some other updates and details. We looked at what kind of regulations, code regulations that are being used in other municipalities, both in St. Louis and nationwide. And by far, most municipalities were using the 2017 National Electrical Code. I mean, I think 75% at least of the ones we were looking at. We use the 2014 National Electrical Code by comparison. There is not still one universal charging network. There are 2 different basic networks, and I put them up there. There's the combined charging system and the North American Charging Standard, which is what Tesla uses. Now they are starting to move towards compatibility, but right now there is not. They haven't settled on which one they want to use. Next slide. What other municipalities are doing, for example, with requiring, for those that are requiring spaces, and there's quite a few that are doing so, for residential, they mandate 1 EV-ready space per dwelling unit. Now, the difference between an EV charger and EV ready. I see you know,
Yeah.
okay, well, since this is a public meeting, EV ready means the conduit is in the house, ready to go, so that if someone wants to put a charging station in, they just have to buy the equipment and have it installed, versus an EV station where they actually put the equipment in as well. With commercial, the typical requirement is that at least 10% of the spaces are EV ready and 5% of the spaces are actual EV chargers. And that 5% could be part of that 10%. So half of the spaces that are EV ready could be EV chargers. And they're typically mandated with any major remodel, so 50% or more, or any new construction for municipalities that pass this kind of legislation. We wanted to highlight Crestwood because they had the most comprehensive and clear set of regulations that we found. And I put them up there. They require a building permit. They put this charging spaces subject to the standard parking lot code. So just like we have a standard code, spaces are so wide, so large, and have to have a driveway of so much square footage. They do the exact same thing, and they require the same rules for EV spaces as they do for regular parking. What they also do, and this is something that you may want to look at as you have your deliberations, they do not count EV parking spaces toward their general parking requirement. And I have mixed feelings about that, because that means that if a parking requirement is, say, 20 spaces and they have an EV requirement of another 2 or 3 spaces, that's adding parking. And you don't just add the spaces, as you well know, you got to add the driveway, and that takes out landscaping, and that cuts into the size of the parcel for development. So there's some issues with that, but they call it out specifically, so I wanted to include it. They also require all EV charging equipment to have a clearly identified and accessible emergency disconnect switch, which is something that we think is important, particularly for fire safety. And they also require external EV charging equipment to adhere to accessory structure setbacks for that zoning district. So we didn't see that with a lot of other codes, and that's an interesting one. I like it, but that's something for you to think about and just deliberate. Next slide. So some examples from other municipalities, moving on. In the International Fire Code of 2024, which some municipalities use, there's extensive rules regulating lithium ion battery storage. I don't know that that's something that is critical for consideration or regulation, but that particular section of the code, we found it and went at length about this particular issue. And as I mentioned, there has been a couple fires in Webster Groves related to lithium batteries. So it may be something to consider. Now, then going on to Richmond Heights, they have specific regulations pertaining to power supply and panel box location identification. In St. Louis City, they require that at least one of the spaces, whether it's EV ready or an actual EV installation space, must be adjacent to an ADA accessible parking space. We did not get the details as to why. We can do that if you wish. And then finally, in Brentwood, they had power supply and panel box requirements similar to Richmond Heights. They also have specific regulation for inclusion of wiring schematics and load calcs so that they can verify the system's power supply, can simultaneously charge all EV spaces at full power. That's getting real into the weeds, but it's one that we didn't see the other places do. And when you look at the fact that there's also ongoing issues across the country with power supply for things like data centers, which admittedly has not come up in Webster Groves yet, but is something that could. That's one we thought to bring to your attention as an example elsewhere. Again, not saying it's a must do, but it's something that struck our attention and we wanted to bring it to yours. Next slide. So with all that in mind, possible next steps to consider. Specific and exclusive EV and EV charging station regulation, separate from a larger code change. Considering amending the zoning code for allowing EVs and EV charging and EV ready charging station parking spaces. If you want to do that, consider approving the 2017 edition of the National Electrical Code as a review standard, either as part of that or separate from EV charging approval. And then finally, consider approving the IFC 2024 regulations for lithium-ion battery storage, whether as part of a larger code approval or separate. Again, thinking that, that may be something worth considering on its own to prevent battery fires, or at least reduce the number of them. Next slide. You could, as part of a code change, adopt the same sort of parking requirements for EV ready and EV charging stations for residential and commercial that we presented from other communities. You could adopt the Crestwood zoning standards, and you could approve the 2017 edition of the National Electrical Code, either with or without additional EV charging requirements. Next slide. And that's my presentation. I open it up to the board.
Thank you.
I'm all in favor of I think that we need to be very careful as we roll this out. To not inadvertently cause undue hardships on people who are trying to improve their homes or maintain their homes. So that brings me to the question of when a major remodel is defined as 50%. 50% of what? 50% of floor area, of cost? What is the 50%?
Well, and again, let me specify, that was in reference to commercial. That wasn't in reference to residential.
Okay.
Now, what for non-conforming uses, just to give an example, a residential example, it's 50% of the cost of the property. So if I have a house and it's non-conforming for whatever reason, just to give an example to answer your question, and let's say it catches fire, if 50% or more of the cost of replacing the house is destroyed in that fire, then I cannot rebuild it in the manner in which it was before that was non-conforming. That non-conformity goes away. So that would be a standard that you could consider for if you wanted to go that route for residential. We weren't suggesting doing it for residential, but if you wanted to apply that 50% standard, for non-conforming, it's 50% of the cost of replacing the structure. That might be a model that you could use.
I think it's important to clarify that this new construction or major remodel is applying to commercial, because when I read this and I'm seeing residential 1 EV-ready space per dwelling, and then we drop right down to new construction or major remodel, my concerns were, okay, so, and I did watch the July 15 council meeting presentation, and I heard people talking about the possibility of requiring new construction and remodels and new garages in residences to have EV ready. And the idea was, really zealously presented that we are saving you money down the line by having you do this. Well, I think there's some validity to that. I also think it's important to take the temperature of the community and what's going on now. Because what I'm thinking is, if, as far as residential, okay, fewer people are buying electric vehicles overall. Fewer people are buying vehicles overall, and they're mostly going for used vehicles because the way costs are rising. So are you really saving people that much money down the line by having them do these EV-ready requirements when they may or may not ever buy an electric vehicle? And what about the case of somebody who lives in an older, more modest house? Well, now you have to do this EV ready, but your panel won't support that. So now you have to put in a new electric panel. So I think we have to be very careful about potential follow-on and making it clear that, if we're using some 50% threshold especially in residential, that we aren't causing a chilling effect on people repairing their homes. Because to me, there's a difference between adding a new addition and doubling the size of the house than there is between like using a monetary measure. Oh, well, you have to repair your foundation, and you have to repair this, and you have to repair that. And if we're using a monetary designation of 50%, people are liable to have to get pulled into requirements when they're trying to repair and maintain their homes. And I don't think that would be fair or productive.
Could you make it as granular in the code that says that if you're doing an electrical service upgrade or replacement, then you would be required to make the service EV ready?
I mean, you can recommend whatever you want. So
Right,
yeah,
right. I'm saying, to avoid that idea of I'm doing a new bathroom addition or renovation, why should I be required to do the EV ready? But if you're doing something such as replacing the service, while you're at it, make it EV ready. And I've done PV ready buildings, for the photovoltaic cells, and it's as simple as just a boot on the roof for a future conduit, and then a stub off the side of your main panel, and that's it. So it's pretty minor.
I think we really need to be very thoughtful about how we roll this out and not putting onerous requirements on people, especially with older housing stock. And when you're trying to maintain an older, modest size house, we already pay a premium in smaller homes for a smaller scope of work. So I just think, we don't want to have a situation where, say, someone in my age group is facing, well, I don't get around as well as I used to, and I want to stay at my house in Webster. So I want to add a main level bedroom, and I want to add a handicap accessible bath, because I may not be able to drive at all in 3 years or 5 years. So to me, it would be unfair to say, well, you need to have this EV ready system as part of your remodel, when you may never buy an electric car. I mean, and if somebody is going to buy an electric car 7 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, how many people are really going to do that? And how much money are you really saving the current homeowner? Or are you saving the money for the future homeowner? You know, with the costs of everything rising so much now, I feel like we really need to be sensitive to what costs we might be imposing on people that they will never see the benefit of. I think it's great to look at these EV requirements, but we have to also be realistic. Are we saving people money in the long run, or for most people, are we just driving up the cost of their construction?
That's a reasonable and very, very important distinction. The one thing I would add, and I just add this as background information, I think it was as of 2023, and obviously the numbers have gone down since then. It was upwards of 1 million electric vehicles a year were being sold in this country. Now, that is out of 15 to 20 million vehicles total sold in this country in any given year. So there is a percentage that's buying it, but it's not an overwhelming percentage.
On the commercial properties, when they're EV ready and or their EV stations provided, does the property owner or the landlord or whoever have they can do with them what they want? Like, can they charge? Or
Yes.
Or is it free
Yeah.
use?
Once they build them, it's private property. We can't force them to not charge.
Okay.
So, they can do what they will with it. And, from an economic standpoint, let's say we do this, and let's say hypothetically 20 property owners put in EV charging stations. Well, they can charge certainly, but they're only going to be able to charge so much, because if I have a charging station and I don't charge, and
Oh, yeah.
because eventually the market's going to settle out. So yes, they can, but they can only charge what the market will bear.
And then on the same line, is there a preferred placement that's mandated for those charging stations? Like, for example, the Schnucks in Des Moines has a charging station on Clayton Road, basically. So it's not a very nice space to park. It's sort of like, well, okay, we'll do that, but walk all the way to the parking garage.
Other than the one that I mentioned where they required I think it was the city of St. Louis required the EV ready space or EV charging space, at least one, to be right next to the ADA accessible spaces. We didn't see very much requiring it. That may be something you want to suggest. That we didn't have any real recommendation as far as that goes.
For a while in my career, I came from the lead green sustainability portion of the work, and as a driver for that, you put those charging stations near the front door as preferred parking because you're doing a great thing for the planet. But that ship's kind of sailed to a good extent. So
the one comment I would make is that just keeping in mind, both whether it's residential or commercial, proximity to the building, just, in terms of fire safety. The one thing that came up when I brought this up to the fire chief was that what happens sometimes is that the homeowner will build the EV charging station in the garage. And particularly in the city, particularly in Webster, where you have older garages that are not current size garages, you got this much space between the wall and the EV charging station in the car. And what can happen is, and this is their fear, people get wedged in there doing whatever. The battery on the car or in the charging port catches on fire and they're stuck. That's the concern as far as residential more than commercial, but that's out there. So that's the only caveat I would bring up as far as location.
How often has this happened?
It hasn't happened a lot. As I mentioned, they've had a couple battery fires, but they haven't had an actual charging station fire, but that's their concern.
Seems like the residential requirement, I'm not sure about that. I think if someone wants an EV charging station, they can add it. I don't know if I'd make that a requirement just for some of the same reasons that Carol has already mentioned. That's just my first thought on it. And I think it's a good idea to have the commercial parking spaces as some requirement, but I would treat them as any other space. I wouldn't necessarily try to exclude, to increase the parking count beyond what it's already required, because that's always a challenge. And it makes sense, I think, on the approving the 2017 NEC strictly for EV portion itself. So those are my few simple comments based on all of your presentations. So I appreciate the information.
The one I want to keep fairly neutral with one exception, and you just mentioned it, as far as the additional parking, I really do agree and would push a little bit on not adding additional parking requirements. I mean, the whole, yes, parking is an issue like in Old Orchard and Crossroads, but one of the discussions in planning nationwide is reduction of parking requirements. I read somewhere last year when this came up in another municipality that a lot of the parking standards that municipalities use now go back to one study that was done in the 50s that one municipality used, and that others in a reverse tree of expanding numbers of municipalities all basically copied. Oh, they're doing it. They got it from this municipality, they're doing it, and back, so it must be right. So there's a certain argument to be made that the parking standards were based on something that was done in a suburban shopping center environment in 1956. Doesn't really make sense now.
Yeah, if you say that those don't count towards your parking count, then you're assuming that those are just being left open and empty. It's
Right,
not
right.
in favor of, or trying to promote
Mhm.
the EV vehicles.
I'm not advocating this, but I think the rationale might be, if you have an EV vehicle and you need to charge it, and there's somebody with a regular gas powered car in that parking spot, and you were counting on being able to charge your car there, I think maybe that might be the reason why they said, okay, if this place needs 20 spaces, those EV spaces need to be outside of that. I'm not saying that's a good idea, but I'm thinking that might be the rationale, so that those spaces who people wanted to charge their EV vehicles aren't being continually occupied by non-EV cars who are just parking there. So something else that just crossed my mind, because I saw some notation about, reviewing the possibility of ADUs. And it's like, okay, what comes to my mind immediately is another follow-on about EV residential requirements. Okay, if we go to ADUs, are the ADUs going to have, if it's per residential unit, are the ADUs going to be required to have EV charging now? And, if that's people are using that for an elder, I mean, do the elders even drive? And we're going to be, we need to be careful about what we're requiring and why and where.
That's a really, really good question. We have not thought of that at all. So that's going into the mix. I don't know that, I don't have an answer because
Yeah, well, I just, these things come to my mind because it's like, okay, well, if we have to do this for a remodel and then it's per residential unit, then we do ADUs. So you could have a situation where you're requiring actually 2 EV charging spaces on one residential parcel. And is that something we really want to be doing? As another thing that comes to mind too is, okay, say you have to have these EV ready spaces, EV ready rough-ins. And okay, well, they cost this much this year. And at the rate prices are going up, say you have to do a panel upgrade and you have to do your EV ready infrastructure. Okay, so that may cost $3,000 or $4,000 this year, and at the rate prices are going up, in 2 years it's going to be $5,000, and in 10 years it's going to be how much? And I think we have to keep that in mind. I mean, going to the grocery store and just looking at the price of coffee, the $9 bag of coffee 2 weeks ago is now $14.50. So I really think that people are sensitive to costs being put upon them. And then, what we may say, oh, well, this looks great. This really isn't that much this year, but what about the next year and the next year and the next year? And those things get added to our construction values, which ends up eventually on our taxes, and which recur every year. So it's just, this may be a smaller item, but it's another follow-on. And with other requirements, it can be a pretty big cumulative effect. So I really do think, as we roll this out, we need to do it with a careful eye of potential unintended negative consequences that would keep people from improving their homes or, just, what I mean, just more expense that people may not need or want at any point.
well, and here's a follow-up that you just brought to mind that has 2 potential implications, one of which is directly related to what your board deals with directly, which is, okay, what if I have a house and I want to, whether we require it or not, let's say I want to put one charger for the house and one charger for the ADU, the accessory dwelling unit, and I want to put solar up on the roof. Number one, what does that do to the electrical? I mean, is there excessive electrical requirements, and does that make sense? Particularly if you require the 2 EV spaces. And number 2, what does that do to the exterior character of the house? I don't know the answers to that, but I can see, I mean, there's a lot of equipment that's going to be hooked up to or attached to the top of, or both, the house. And what if that's in a historic district or not, but it's in one of the more historic areas that is in a historic district? What is that going to look like? So that there are, you're talking about unintended consequences. Well, there's some more that just came to mind.
I know people are really enthusiastic about this because it's a good cause, but I don't know that really there's any reason to rush it. Because I was hearing, oh, well, let's get this done as a standalone and do it in the next year to year and a half. But when we start looking at the various potential consequences, I mean, how are people taking the temperature of the crowd? I mean, how are people going to feel about these requirements that might add on to their costs in this, this economic environment. I think that there's a case to do this as the comprehensive plan rolls out, rather than trying to rush to do it in the next year. Well, how many people is it gonna really benefit if we rush to do it in the next year? I think if we roll it out as part of the comprehensive plan, we'll be able to do it more thoughtfully rather than just rushing it along because we're enthusiastic to get it done. I think it's important. I'm in favor of it, but I don't want haste to increase the chance that we're going to have bad consequences.
Okay. Then if there's something else, then thank you for your time.
Thank you, Elliot.
Thanks, Elliot.
So what I'll do is, very briefly, let's write up, we'll have the minutes, but I'll write up a summary based on what you've said, and see if there's any recommendations, proposals to bring to you for recommendations. And you can discuss them and vote on them just like you did tonight.
Hopefully better than we did tonight.
Oh, it'll absolutely be better because now we know now you've got the process.
Thanks for your patience, everybody.
Right. I was gonna say, we're visual people. We have to know what we're looking at. All right, appreciate it. Thanks
Thank
all.
you.
We are adjourned.